So okay, so here it is. So Heatsink forgot about one thing. We need to cut some of the fins off. Oops. So if we line up the heat sinks, it should be something like that. This fin here hits it. Hits the it's hitting the nut that the bracket is bolted onto. Okay, so we're gonna have to cut some of those fins off, unfortunately. That's gonna lower some of our cooling performance, but hey, that's what you got to do, man. You got to get it to fit. So what I think I'm gonna do, it looks like I really only have to cut maybe half of it. So we're gonna cut half of the fin off. We're gonna cut this here and this here right here, so it'll fit. Okay, so there'll be like a little part sticking out here. I want to cut as least of the fin out as possible so we can still, kind of use it still. So we're gonna cut half of this off and see what happens. All right, same thing with the other side. It's the same story with the other side. So I'm gonna measure this, draw a line in the middle, and then start cutting it with the cutting wheel. We'll probably use the Dremel one because it's more precise. Okay, all right. Here's me out. Sorry, it's upside down, but it's about 6 centimeters. Okay, about 6. It's a little bit less than 6 centimeters because I don't know. I guess when we grinded it, it was a little bit too much. But we're gonna go draw a line at 3 centimeters or 30 millimeters, right around here. Okay, so I'm gonna go draw a line like right here. It's not rocket science, man. It doesn't have to be super precise, but it has to be able to clear that nut right there. Okay, I've gone and drawn the line at 3 centimeters, and we're gonna cut this and this off, and this is going to be gone right here. Okay, yeah, so we can clear that. Hopefully that's enough. If not, we'll cut it up some more, but it's kind of hard to tell. Okay. Okay, here we go. Got my cutting wheel here. I'll just get a short clip of me doing it. I'll show you guys the end result. Okay. All right. Okay, bad news, guys. So I got another problem. I think the fit of the heatsink is a little bit too good, man. Too close. So I cannot. So you can see there, it's not interfering there anymore because I cut that off, and it cut off pretty cleanly. I'm pretty surprised how well that cutting wheel cuts, but it cuts really slow too, though. So I can't get the. I don't know. It's pretty close. Yeah, I can't get the Like if I move it all the way up, we'll be able to get it in the hole. But the problem is, if you look under here, the top part of the heat sinks here are touching this here. Okay. There's a kind of like a bump here on the bracket, and it's hitting that bump, and it's hitting the screws too. We're gonna have to grind. We're gonna have to grind everything. We're gonna have to grind all of this, man. All of this on the top, maybe however long that is, right there. We've got to grind that so it fits where this is. Okay, it's quite a big hump too. And then we have to grind where the screws are too, where the screws that mount the plate are. So okay. So first I'll figure out how much we need to grind off, and what I might do is just take the cutting wheel and just cut it at an angle. Cut like just the tips off. So maybe this was a bad idea because it doesn't fit. Okay. All right. Okay, he's here. So I've marked off all the areas that I think I should cut off. I kind of just looked at it and I marked it. So see that black portion there? We're gonna take that out on all of the heat sinks. All of them. So I thought maybe we can just put it in the grinder, you know, the heavy duty grinder, but I'm afraid the fins will bend, because I tried grinding it before and it just bent the fin. Like the fins are really fragile. So I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to use the cutting wheel. Okay, I'm just going to cut each one like this. Boom, 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 and just go down the line. Okay, all right. Okay, there it is. I feel that like we should have just made it a little bit long. We should have just kept a little bit more of this and then use a shorter piece of this. So it was I had made it precise. Okay, it was a precise fit, and it's just too close. Okay, so I just made it up, and it fits. So you can see it clears that little hump there, where the screw mounts in there. It's probably I grinded a little too much. We really didn't need to grind that much. But so now the problem is the screw is hitting it. The screw is hitting the top of the heatsink. So we need to grind. We need to find out where the screws are. So there's 3 screws underneath this. So if you look on the top here, there's 3 screws, right? So the heatsink is so close to it that it's touching these screws. So we need to grind a relief out on the heatsinks on the top here, so it fits. Okay, I know it would probably just be better just to grind the whole thing off, man. But I think we only need to grind it. We don't have to do any more cutting. So I'm gonna mark off where they are. I think one of them is like here, and another one is here, and there's another one in the center. So probably like around here or something. So I'll mark where they all are, and then we'll just grind it until it fits. Okay, getting there. All right. Little too precise a fit is what I'm going to say. Okay, so I've marked off what we need to grind. So that black part has got to go. That's the 2 bolts. Now, the problem is I don't know where the center bolt goes. So, well, might have to... the other one is like all the way in the back, too. We might have to actually grind the base plate. So, I'm not too sure about that one. So, anyway... I'm going to go get the cutting wheel, and we're just going to grind that off. That's not a whole lot, you know. I think that should fit after that. And then I'll figure out where the center one hits. What I'll do is I'll put a piece of grease. I'll put some grease on the screw, and then I'll mount the plate, and I'll see where the grease touches, and then wherever the grease is, we'll grind it. So hopefully it's not the base. I don't want to grind the base. All right, here's me out. All right, here's me here. That's the final product, pretty much. It's about 90% there, I'd say. So I think I didn't grind that center bolt, so I don't really know where it is. It looks like it's really close to where it touches, so I'm gonna see if it fits. If it fits like this, okay? Yeah. So I know the tolerances are really close, but I think it's good. All right. So I'm gonna try to bolt it on, and we'll see. It looks pretty nuts, doesn't it? I like it. It looks cool. All right. Oh my God! There it is. I did it. I did it. All right. So there it is. That is the finished, almost nearly the finished product. It's funny. It looks almost like the X controller. It does get to look like the X controller. Like I said, I wish we could have got the X controller. Heatsink and just put it on this, man. But okay, so there you go. So you got the main heatsink bolted onto the heatsink for the BAC2000 controller, and then we've got a secondary heatsink in the back here, bolted to the bottom here to make use of that extra space for the BAC controller. Okay, let's take a look at it looks pretty cool. There's a picture of all. So that's pretty close to what the finished product is going to be. Well, not quite. Everything did fit. It turns out that the screws really didn't need to be grinded all that much. I probably did. I probably went twice the depth that I needed to. But everything looks good, man. So there's the bottom right there. Pretty cool. So, and then we got plenty of room for the scoop here. Okay, I'd say this is about the same size as a BAC4000. That's what my guess is. The whole package here now. So, so now we got to do. You know what? I'm gonna call it a night. I'm so close to finishing. I wanted to at least get the secondary heatsink done, and the secondary heatsink is done. The last thing we got to do, we got to take it back out. The last thing we got to do is put the heatsink grease, the heatsink compound, for the secondary heatsink. We're gonna bolt that there, and it's gonna be there like forever. Okay, it's not gonna move anymore. So we're gonna clean both surfaces up, grease it really good. Maybe we'll just put a lot of grease on the secondary heatsink, and then we'll stick it on there and we'll shake it a little bit, so it gets a good kind of contact, and then we'll bolt them together, just like that, and then it'll never come out again. So that's going to be the heatsink unit from now on. So, all right, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I can't wait to actually try it out, man. But I think I'm done for today, man. It took way too long to do this today. It was 10:30. I think I started around 5. So I've been at it for like 5 hours. Literally, I think I've been putting like 5 or 6 hours into this every day. I think this is the 3rd day that I've been working on it. So I probably put about 15 hours on this bad boy. Boy, does it look cool though, man. It doesn't look like a BAC controller anymore. I kind of wish I had the black heat sinks. I do have some black heat sinks, but I just have the biggest heat sink I have is that aluminum one, man. So I did kind of have like a medium-sized one, like this one right here. I could have probably just used this one. This is a black one, but when you cut it and stuff, it's aluminum inside, so it's just anodized black. The outside is black, so if you do grind it and stuff, it's more noticeable. So this, I'm pretty happy with how the finish turned out. I'm still not too sure about these little tabs sticking out here. If these ever get caught on anything, I think I'm gonna grind them down a little bit, because they're twice as long as they need to be. But man, everything looks good, man. It looks like I told you, it looks like an amplifier, you know, for like a subwoofer or something, man. Yeah, it turned out really good. It's a bummer that I burnt this when I brazed these on. Yeah, both of them are kind of burnt. You can feel them; they're all kind of crispy. crispy heatsink. Yeah, both of them are crispy. Yeah, so I mean, raising a heatsink, Hazy Mega does not approve, but it's like really the only way I could have done it. I could have used I could have hired a welder to TIG weld it, one that knows how to do aluminum and stuff. So I don't have that kind of equipment. So Hazy Mega could be proud and say that, yeah, I did everything by myself, and I didn't spend any money to make this. Because it was all stuff I had on hand, you know. So how much would it cost to make something like this? Since it's like nearly done, I'll kind of make a guesstimate. I feel that this would cost to get the heatsink material. It would cost anywhere from like $20 to $30 is what I'm thinking. Probably around more like the $30 area. That's how much I was thinking it was going to cost. And I was thinking of getting a really short one, but it turns out that we can go to Heatsink City with this one. Simply, but so it didn't quite turn out as nice as I thought it would because I burnt the fins on this. Okay, these fins, they bend really easily too. They're not strong at all. They'll bend really easily. Also, one thing I noticed is that we could probably bend it out of the way if something was obstructing it. So I could have probably bent it a whole lot to avoid the screw or something, you know. But there it is, man. We made a new bracket. We got a primary heatsink. Well, we got the controller heatsink, a primary heatsink, and then I'm gonna call this the secondary heatsink, okay? And then I like that this is aluminum now, so I don't know if it's gonna heat up or not. One thing I might want to do is put some kind of tape around this, because this is probably a little sharper now. It's gonna rub on this sucker, dude. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So what's left to be done? We've got to, like I said, we've got to remove the heatsink again, put the secondary remove the secondary heatsink, put that heatsink compound on this, bolt it back on, and then bolt the heatsink, bolt the whole unit back onto the controller, and then we need to go put this on a trailer and compress the suspension, and then find out if we need to cut any more of this. I have a feeling, yeah, we're gonna have to cut something. But you just saw I cut the heatsink, and it wasn't too hard with the cutting wheel. It's not too hard, so it's just kind of awkward getting to some of the fins. So, but it can be done. All right. So, but the heat sinks, the fins do add some rigidity to the plate, man. So I don't, as much as possible, I don't want to cut them. But it looks like we're gonna have to cut it like this much. I don't know how much we're gonna have to shave off, but hopefully not that much. That, or we can cut the fender a little more. So the reason I made this, and I made it go all the way in as much as possible, is so we could push the controller back a little more so we can get more clearance. But tomorrow we'll find out how this bracket does, how well the bracket does when we pushed the controller in as far as we can make it. I feel it looks nicer and it's a little more compact now. You know, we can compare it to the X controller. I have to say, I'm still a pretty big fan of the old X controller, man. I still think it's a good controller if they could just find a way to jack up the regen on it. But here's the stock X controller, or the Suron X controller. This is the stock one for this bike, and it's literally the same size almost. Yeah, it is almost the same size as our heatsink setup here. Okay, in fact, it's a little bit longer. It's more like, I guess the Suron controller is more like about the size of a BAC2000. So that just tells you, you know, how good the BAC controller is. It's much smaller. You know, it's much smaller, but it's actually more powerful, you know, and it has more features. So the X controller is much larger, and it's not, you know, it's really not much better, you know. But the BAC2000, I would say, compared to this, is just a little bit better, you know. Plus, you got that extra regen. But the regen is what I like it for. The regen is awesome. Okay, so yeah. Like I said, it would be nice if we could take this heatsink. See, the X controller has this huge heatsink. This is why the X controller never overheats, you know. I've never had the X controller overheat on me. I had it get pretty warm, but it never get hot. You know, this one constantly gets hot. It's like a, and then now that we're pushing more power through it, now that we're pushing more power through it, it's just overheating all the time now. So I feel like we're overclocking a CPU. You know, we push more power through it, and you gotta cool it down somehow, right? Same thing with the CPU. You know, you increase the clock speed, you gotta find a way to deal with the heat, and this is what we've done. So alternatively, I thought we could try like a water cooling setup, but this is like too many extra components. I didn't want all the extra stuff, you know, and it makes your bike noisy. You're gonna have like a water pump and stuff. So would be cool though, but I don't think it needs. I think this might be sufficient. We'll see. All right, so that's it for tonight. In the next video, we will add the thermal compound to the secondary heatsink, and then we'll throw this on the trailer, and we'll find out if we need to trim the heatsink at all. All right, here's Miguel.